This is Mandroid's lair, and these pieces represent all of us.
Oh, may I be the bobblehead?
Of course. Morgan, can you switch,
Nightshade's pronouns are they, them.
He or she just doesn't fit who I am.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. First, let's talk about what the show is actually about. The plot is rather simple. These two kids, very randomly, stumble onto a mysterious energon stream that gives birth to two Transformers, Twitch and Thrash. With a magical glove bound to their hands, the kids are bonded to the new bots, with both being capable of feeling each other's emotions. The bots get to stay with the kids and their parents, as well as Bumblebee, who is tasked to teach the bots until they become capable warriors. Every episode, although serialized, feels very episodic. The characters don't really feel like they develop, the lessons of the plot don't really carry over to the next episode, and the best characters are the legacy ones, even if they don't even feel like themselves. What do I mean? Well, supposedly a sequel. The show has branded itself a continuation of the original series, but trust me, you wouldn't know it if they didn't tell you. Optimus and Megatron are now allies again, and although this could work, as seen in Shattered Glass, it doesn't. Instead of explaining the switch, putting an effort to make it believable, they just make it out that Megatron switches sides from the goodness of his heart because it's the right thing to do, even having him willingly fight his old comrades with no remorse until the end of the season when he randomly cares. He takes orders like a good soldier until the writers decide he shouldn't. There's no natural progression, no natural conflict, and no way that he's a believable Megatron besides in design alone, which I do have to say they did pretty well on. There are some good lines from him though, for whatever that's worth.
Clearly we've had disagreements, but when I joined the Autobots to end the war, I saw that Optimus always does what he believes is right, no matter the personal cost.
Autobots, roll out!
I can never tell if he means me.
Optimus doesn't quite feel like the Prime we all know and love either. He's not a bad guy per se, but his ideals, morals, and motivations are pretty cloudy. He never seems to take a stance on really anything, and he doesn't seem to care about humanity above the baseline.
I care since I have to.
If you're a Transformers fan, you'll feel the difference. His design is also the worst of both the bots and the cons. He's got that Justice League Superman treatment that looked a bit off to everyone straight after Superman the Animated Series. I wish he kept his mask on at all times. That's how bad it is. I'm really glad Peter Cullen didn't come back for this train wreck. The rest of the legacy bots didn't get much better treatment. Elita is beyond annoying. She's brash, rude, acts kinda like a frat boy. I wish I was kidding. She literally shows up for one episode after the first where she's introduced, and her first act is attacking Bumblebee. She then spends the entire episode insulting and degrading. I wish she was still leading a cell on Cybertron. Wheeljack though, he gets the best treatment. He's still a scientist, he's able to fight, he's shown to be caring. I even kinda liked his very western cowboy-esque voice.
You need to think like a scientist. Look at the data. You have a family that loves you. Here's the thing about family. You can always find new traditions with them.
That being said, the Prime Wrecker variant is still my favorite.
If you're trying to ruin my day, you're gonna have to try harder.
They did a pretty good job on him, and the episode where he's introduced is one of my favorites in the entire series. Good job on this one. Bumblebee has his voice in this incarnation. He acts like a kid and grumbled and groans about wanting to be a hero. He learns not to one episode and then does it again the next. I didn't like his portrayal here. The war is over between the Autobots and the Decepticons, but Bumblebee acts like he wants it to keep going because he'd look cooler. Like what? It's very against type. Obviously, they don't act like they went through the original cartoon struggles at all, nor as if they could possibly be those characters in general. And Bumblebee is the best example of this. If you remember the horrors from the original series, like the deaths of
No! Such heroic nonsense.
then I'm pretty sure Bumblebee wouldn't want that war to keep going on. But what do I know, right? The whole sequel tie-in is a convoluted waste of an idea, and I'm pretty sure if Shikamaru was describing it, he'd say, what a drag.
I knew this was gonna be a drag, but I didn't know it was gonna be this lame.
Transformers animated. One thing that I am able to compliment is the animation. Although I find some of the humans to be a bit uncanny, like this girl with the Clannad treatment, I think the characters are mostly designed and animated pretty well. What really shines though are the action scenes, especially in the choreography. Too bad they are few and far between. There's nothing spectacular here, but it is far better than I expected. The human factor. When it comes to the humans, this is actually something I was very worried about. And they both surprise and somehow disappoint me. We're gonna start off with the two main humans. These two kids right here. I cannot stand them. They act immature the entire series. They never really learn from any of their mistakes. They have the same problem as the bots, actually. Whenever there is a lesson to be learned, they learn it, the episode ends, then they revert back. It makes no sense. They're trying to make it serialized, but yet it's episodic, and it just doesn't fit together. It's like they've got multiple different writers for each show that can't come to a consensus on how the show actually is. And it really ruins these characters. They are just annoying and bratty at all times. They're not able to fight for themselves, they're not able to fend for themselves. They're just in the way, and I cannot stand that. Imagine Miko from Transformers Prime, early Miko, not how she develops, and then place her as both the main characters, and then give her no development ever, and you got these two, except 10 times worse. But the parents, I actually like them. They are actually good characters. The mom can grab a gun and fight alongside the Autobots, and she does a good job. She doesn't falter on her ideals. She actually seems like she is a character through every episode without changing type, without deciding all of a sudden she's going to change to fit the narrative. She's consistently the same person. The dad, he actually gets development. I know, my mind was blown too. He starts out as this goofy dude who's just a big fan of Bumblebee. But as the series goes on, he grows to have more of a respect than a fandom. He's not like, Bumblebee, sign all my stuff every episode. He gets to the point where he's like, oh, Bumblebee doesn't want to do this? I'm not going to ask him to 1,000,000 times over. I'll bring it up as a joke every once in a while, and I'm going to look smug when he answers the way I know he will, but I've learned to respect that. Not only that, but he learns to respect his kids. He learns that they're growing up. He learns that his stuff that he wants them to participate in, he can't force them into those traditions. And there's a whole episode centered around him wanting them to do something because they did every year. But when they say they don't feel like it, that it's boring, that they've grown up, that they've got something better to do, he respects that. And because of that, he actually earns Bumblebee's respect. And in that same episode, he has a pretty good fight scene too. It shows that he's capable of handling himself and he's not just a bumbling idiot. He's actually a person who has grown to be braver as the series goes on, grown to be braver as he is with the Autobots. Him and his wife are practically the only reasons I've kept with this show. Them and their history with the Autobots and the present that they have with them now is the most interesting facet of the whole thing. Which is why it's time to talk about why it lost my support. On the very last episode of Transformers Earthspark, they decided to enter in that scene that was at the beginning. Before that scene, I would have continued watching in the second season just to make a video on it, just to see if it improves, to see if they learned, if their writing, if anything is better, but instead, they ruined that. Why? I know a lot of people are going to get mad at this, but why did that one scene ruin it? Because obviously, I already thought the show was bad, so why didn't I just want to stop? Well, what pushed me to finally decide that I will not watch any more episodes is the fact that it is manipulating kids. This show is rated TV Y7. Now, if I put an impressionable 7-year-old in front of the TV and they hear Nightshade's pronouns are they, them, and then they hear Nightshade talk about how they don't feel like a he or a she, all that is going to do is confuse that child, because it is pressuring that question onto them. It is making them think, oh, do I feel like a he or a she? You should not do that to a kid. That is pure and utter manipulation, and it is disgusting. And if you are a parent and you don't know that this is coming up, you might not even know that your kid heard that. You might not know that your kid now has a question in the back of their mind that they didn't before they started watching Transformers Earthspark. It is gaslighting. They are gaslighting your child to be confused. That is what is happening. That is what that is. That is what it is doing. You want to put that in a show that is TV 14? Sure, it's still doing the same thing, but at least by that point, I would have had time to sit down with my kid and say, you're going to meet people with different ideas, different opinions, different perceptions, different emotions, different this, and this. I would be able to prepare them as a parent to be respectful towards people that have that idea. I wouldn't have to worry about my kid getting that implanted in their head before I can talk to them first. That's not something I should have to worry about if I had a kid watching a kid's show on TV. My kid should not be concerned about pronouns, about gender identity, about sexual orientation. This stuff shouldn't pop up in kid shows. It is ridiculous. And it is something that I am so angry and so passionate about, because these are kids. They would have been innocent before they saw this. They would have had no qualms, no reason, no nothing. There would have been nothing in their headspace, nothing in their mentality that would have been confused on the fact that I am a dude because I've got a pee-pee. Like what? You're literally implanting gender dysphoria into kids. You're planting a seed for that to develop. Why would you do that when they're an adult? If they want to go ahead and think to themselves, oh, something ain't quite right here. They're an adult. I can't stop them. You can't stop them. We can't stop them. They've got that brain development that allows them to make this decision. But right now, they're 7 years old. They're 7. Does that not bother anybody else? I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You can have your Steven Universe, so when they're older and able to understand it, they can enjoy it. And you can have your representation and things can be okay. But you do not put it in something rated TV Y7. I don't give two squats on who you are or what you believe. Don't. That is disgusting, that is gross, and that is predatory. Back off. Anyway, sorry about that. I got a little heated. That last scene is what I felt like I needed to talk about. But I wanted to make sure that I reviewed the show as a whole, regardless of that scene, so you know that the show was crap, the show sucked, the show butchered an entire series of Transformers just so it can pretend like it could piggyback off that. And when that didn't work, after they ruined our legacy characters, after they had awful stories and didn't keep with its own narrative, it went ahead and tried to garner some kind of attention, some kind of support, by putting this in there at the end. All this was a political move, was a move so the left would be like, whoa, look at this progressive show that loves our children enough to show them this, to let them know that there are some people with differences. That's not the show's job. That is our job. And putting that in at the end of a show just to try to squander up some sympathy isn't going to work. Don't do that. If any of you that made this show have kids, I will pray for them. They're gonna need it. Because right now, you're not showing that you have your child's best interest in mind. You are showing that you have your best interest in mind. If any of you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you more than anything in the world. And if you disagree with what I have to say, do it respectfully in the comments. If you're not gonna be respectful, don't say anything. Because I am absolutely tired of seeing this over and over and over again. I'm tired of the pride parades at the end of preschool shows. I'm tired of it all being forced on our kids. I'm tired of it. Anyway, that's all. Have a great day.